Wake up, buy here, pay here people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhoads on the Buy Here, Pay Here Morning Show. Take it away, you two.
Okay.
Hello,
Good
friends.
morning.
Welcome. Happy Saturday.
Happy
We're doing a Saturday
Saturday.
broadcast. Friday was a little nuts, and so
We're getting ready to head out the door to go to TIADA's conference.
San Antonio, and urge all those who are listening who just completely forgot, especially if you're in or near San Antonio, get yourself there. We're going to be at the event, and lots of meetings to line up and folks to see. So looking forward to being there.
Yeah, it's usually of the state ones. It's one of the big ones for Buy Here, Pay Here.
The Southeast is kind of consolidating into a good one. The Carolinas is always good. And then Tommy's deal in the Northeast has been strong. So but Texas is good. I'm looking forward to being there.
Yep. So am I. What do we have? Anything that we need to talk about before we get and dive into our thing?
I suppose not. I mean, it's all going to kind of relate to our big topic of the day. We sent out a news release, and so that's our subject today is kind of this announcement around a new partnership that has been formed. We've been in discussions with them for some time, and it's hard to overstate the value of, I'm not one to overstate, but it's like this is significant. This is an important step for us. It's and it's really important on a lot of layers. It's going to be I think about our V8 dealers in particular. We're now 2.5 years into V8 at least data, and so that's where we started in early 2024, and our dealers have been patient as we've worked through the data management side of all that, and it's something that I think this part really solves a big piece of what we've wrestled with in data management.
Well, and I see, we've had Band-Aids. We've had a few Band-Aids, and then Jim ends up spending duct tape, paper clips, baling wire. But it's just been not a good use of your time. So that we've known that this has been something that that looking for a permanent solution, and we've kept ourselves really open, waiting for the right solution to come. And we're putting out feelers, and the right one has come. It has been vetted with our team, and really quite excited about it. And I haven't had a chance to meet the DW. But I've kind of, I walk past your office when you're in a meeting, and sounds nice and very articulate and very knowledgeable of the things. And so and it's a really kind of a cool, like I said, we've been putting it out there that we're I guess on the spiritual side, whatever. It's like, all right, we're looking for an answer. And so that's just what we lean into for, how those answers come back to us and flow. And if I remember correctly, this person you came across in LinkedIn?
They reached out to me. I can't even recall. I should go back and look at that.
It was months ago.
Weeks at least.
Weeks.
So I think we started in a conversation, and I could see right away that this person had a particular set of skills. They had a complementary set of skills, and so that their company is kind of new, and they're very much aimed at and have been working in the lender space and the subprime space, and so it's a good fit. It really it's really a nice way for us to solve a data thing for our V8 members first, because that's been the thing, is where I say our members have been patient as we've kind of worked through and tried to get data lined up. And one of the things we've done, and one of the things this partner's aware of, is that we in V8 made the decision early on. I made the decision to put BHPH and LHPH dealers in the same groups. Okay. So that had its own set of challenges, and we worked through that, and it's been a problem, right? I mean, we've made it work, but it hasn't been as clean as any of us would like.
Well, it kind of helped to further understand why I know Dealer 20 groups try to separate them. Or they had I don't know if they still do, but a lease here, pay here group and a regular buy here, pay here group, because there are things that have to be, you can get to the point where you can look at them apples to apples, but it just takes a lot of work.
Yeah. And when you say apples to apples, the structure is different. But what we did in V8 is we said, if you LHPH folks want to sit in a V8 group, you're going to have to sort of conform your numbers to a BHPH structure. Okay. So that was part of what had to happen there. And some software helps more than that. I mean, here we are having this conversation in mid-July. We are, we're headed into the second round of meetings next week. And we have dealers who haven't been able to turn in their data. They've made software switches. This is really a part of a bigger thing that we can begin to address through this work that we'll be doing in data. We've already started it, right? It's just what this does is lets us accelerate that process and to get to a place where we can have, I think what we bring as experience as a translator, having, and this is what I said to the partner, even as we were finalizing the deals, I'm in a position, having coached in this sector a long time and worked inside software and had access to different DMS systems and reports. And as a former dealer, I just think I'm in a good position to understand the BHPH part, LHPH part, related finance companies, enough accounting to be helpful here. And we have relationships with many of the DMS providers. So this affords us a position to be able to solve some of these things that have been a nuisance. And it's really more than that. If you're a lender, in this space trying to provide capital to folks who can't get a grip on their numbers, they're going to miss a lot of dealers. A lot of dealers aren't going to be able to get access to capital because of, numbers that either don't line up or the dealers don't know where to find the numbers. And this is something that we, through our V8 system, because we have close relationships with our members there and we work closely with them and have access to their DMS or they provide, source reports. It allows us to then get in there and starting with the V8 data, which is very limited at this point, but this will give us a chance to expand the data that we extract in or that we pull into V8. But this is why the data translation layer becomes important, because we're able to get in there and start to write the language that translates.
Yeah. So, for those of you, we tend to speak like 2 chapters into a book and people are listening and they're like, I don't know the setting.
Yeah.
So this data translation layer is what it is. It's being, that's being built right now. And it's basically to take the mapping and let me see if I get this right.
Sure.
So it's to take the mapping from one DMS and a mapping from another DMS and be able to just kind of go like this and find where, because they call things different things. They categorize things differently. And so it's finding a way to bring more than one way of having a data set into coherence.
Right.
And so it's bringing the ability for V8, for capital providers, for a lot of, as we dive deeper into this, there are a lot of applications that we're looking at this being able to help us with. It's not just about data.
Right.
It's about moving from one DMS to the next.
Yeah.
It's about moving, a GPS provider from one to the next. And it's about this data translation layer, because we all know, and I hear all the time from dealers, is it's because everyone just kind of speaks a different language. We all speak English, but we have different accents throughout the entire industry.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to understand, or sometimes they have different, it's like, I come from Seattle, and when we get a soda, it's a soda. Or it's in the South, it's a Coke, or it's a pop.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
And it's like, so when I say soda, they're like, what? But I'm talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
This is what this solves.
Yeah.
Is
good.
It's like all of those words that create, that are the same basic thing, then it pulls them together in a layer, data translation layer,
Right.
where it's like it's like having a translator in your ear.
Yeah. I think what I'm hearing there is that the next agreement that I need to draft is between Jim and Michelle, because you come from a background of translating, right, for engineers.
I do. Yeah. That is when Jim met me. That's what I was doing. Is I sat in engineering meetings, and it was smart home technology, and so we dealt with multi-family, so apartments and condos and all of that. And so I would sit in these engineering meetings, and engineers speak a very different language. It's almost like they're from the U.S. Virgin Islands. I mean, they're like, it's like, are they really in the U.S.? Yes, they are. They just speak a very, very different language, and they have a different way of breaking down data and all that. So I have this really cool ability to be able to ask the right questions and go like, oh, do you mean this?
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, that's what we said. It's like, no, that's not what you said, but okay.
Yeah.
And then I would create all the training for the sales team and the rest of, all of the customer service people, and also for the customer.
Right.
So, and so that's what this is, in a way, is being able to create that layer. So it's like, now we can communicate with each other, and we all are speaking the same language, and it's an easy thing for everything to communicate
right
from that.
So one word that has come out of this that I think is important here, that as I've worked with AI through this process and V8, et cetera, but in particular, this data translation layer that we're building, the word that comes up is canonical. So like with the root word being canon, like, this is a word that I almost never use.
All right. So canon, just give a definition, because there's probably a lot of dealers out there that don't understand what canonical and canon is.
So it's really, I should have looked up a better definition, but in the interpretation, in context, what it basically is a identified go-to label. In this case, there's an identifier, right? So this will be the white hat way canonical descriptor, and then we'll translate then from software X to software Y, and there will be a white hat way, a trusted canonical label in between. So that's why this thing, I've described it as a skeleton, but it's a map. You're right. It's data mapping is what people do. And there are people in our industry that have mapping, and they have some mapping over here and they have some mapping over there. So what we're doing is building this in a way that it will be a kind of a centralized, transparent is a really important part of this, because what we're going to want to do is to make sure that if you're a DMS provider, you're a developer with a DMS team, and you're new, or you're a dealer who's in the middle of moving software from software X to
Y.
Or
thinking about it. Yeah.
This lets you know that you've got a way to see into the stuff that is happening. And obviously that'll get cleaned up, it'll get scrubbed, and it'll be improved as we go. We're working first with the roughly 30 data points that we capture in V8 and making sure that we're canonical, across all of those DMS
and
systems.
It's just going to branch out and become, and again, we were chatting with one of our colleagues, another vendor who does just like data mapping, and he just finished, or he's just finishing up a data translation map from one DMS into another DMS. And so we've been chatting with him as well, and it's like, it is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It is a big problem that no one has wanted to really tackle on an industry-wide scale.
Right.
And so, I mean, it's one of those things you hear about the dealers just belly aching, rightfully so,
Mm-hmm.
about how long and how screwed up it is to get everything moved over to a new DMS.
Yeah. And I actually had a conversation with the dealer
Mm-hmm.
by text
Mm-hmm.
earlier in the week where they were asking about if I had talked to any dealers that had successfully moved over to software X, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were we had a little fun with the conversation because they said, has anybody done that and loved it? And I said, I don't know that I'm ever going to meet anybody who loved a data migration from DMS. Now, obviously what we're doing here gives us a chance to make it go much more smoothly. That's kind of the big end picture of what can happen. And how quickly this happens has a lot to do with how much collaboration we get, because as I said, there are people over here that have solved some of this and there are people over here that solved some of that. And so I think what we can do, though, is dealers, I believe, are going to be asking for this. And here's where I think it ends. And we might have talked about this on a prior conversation in the podcast. But when you get to the place where lenders begin to ask, is your software coming through, does it bear a white hat seal? Okay, this is important because when you talk about a trusted layer, it's just that's what White Hat brand is stepping in to be able to deliver, is to be, we hope, a trusted third party in this, to be able to create the language that lenders, accountants, DMS to DMS can feel good about, that there's this third party there that has an interest in the success of all these parties to be able to build this in a way that, this is one of these areas where I have said, and this is true, I said it to a DMS provider we met with recently, I just want to leave this industry a little bit better than I found it. And the monetization will come, like we're not talking today about monetization. There will be ways to do that. I think the other piece that's important here is kind of what we talk about with Simon Sinek calls the infinite game. This is the same. This is the thing where when we work together and we solve this thing in a way that it'll improve over time. It'll sort of be evergreen, and there will be new DMS providers that come into the landscape. And, there will be work that goes on all the time with this. But I think what this does is for our peer groups, for other people's peer groups, for other people's data solutions, I really think, though, lenders, bulk buyers, to be able to get to the place where they can see that they know that the language is the same. If they talk to dealer one on Tuesday who's on software X, and they talk to another dealer Y on Wednesday who's on a different software, they're going to have a chance to know that when they ask the dealer, is this data white hat filtered or white hat validated? That's when you start to now dealers are asking for it, right? DMS people are more cooperative, right? So when the money, the access to money improves.
Oh yeah.
Because of these contracts.
Yeah. And it's, we have observed, and it's, this is true in a lot of business where there's an unhealthy spirit of competition.
Yeah.
And where it's almost conflict, like war is, and that it's, I'm bad mouthing or making it as difficult as possible, or holding all of your cards so close to your chest that it's like no one's going to have access to my proprietary whatever. But it's just like I do. But this is coming in as a Switzerland.
Yeah.
It's like we can all sit at the same table.
Yeah.
And we can all talk about the things, and you can keep your stuff proprietary, and you can keep your stuff proprietary, and this is just going to translate it.
Yeah.
And so it's part of it is that dealers don't deserve to be put over a barrel.
Yeah, good point.
And they are being put over a barrel by a lot of different providers.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point, that I think you can, this will facilitate, and it'll also, the natural outcome would be that when you get to the place where moving from one DMS to another becomes an easier process, and I've shared this, and we're going to need to get on the road, so I don't need to tell the whole big backstory. But I shared that, my work started in coaching and buy here, pay here when we were in the early stages of Windows software, right?
And fax machines and all
that stuff. So I think my career, I've seen technology move a lot. Obviously, what's accelerated a lot of this in my work on this whole data mapping, the AI has helped to accelerate the data mapping to let us start building out these canonical layers or labels. And so I think this is why it's significant, because we've seen that what this will do is naturally elevate things in a way that it makes it easier for me to answer that dealer and say, yeah, this should be a smooth enough transition to go from one to another once this translation thing is put together. And look, it's not going to happen tomorrow. But
it's starting with V8.
In V8, you're going to see us get this part cleaned up, LHPH and BHPH. We're going to help dealers figure out. We're going to work with the DMS people, and we're going to start with just our own data sets. We can get the dealer to just run us 5 exports and send it to us at the close of the month, and we'll be able to sweep that and interpret, right? And so now you start to add value for your members of V8. They can learn more from one another because they're speaking the same language inside that meeting. They're looking at the same set of data, and so this is big because it's something we've worked toward, and we've had some opportunities to collaborate with some people that didn't quite come together. And so there's just been delays, and as I said, our members have been very patient. I think it's about to pay off for many of them. Because
agreements were just signed yesterday. And so it's like, we've already seen, because during the negotiations that there was already work being done. And so agreements are signed, and we are moving forward with this piece of the entire, it's like a piece of the White Hat Way ecosystem.
Right.
And it's a very valuable piece that will help a lot of the other pieces. And we're here to help. We're here to make things easier for dealers.
Right.
And so there have to be, if you are a software provider, whether it be a DMS or whatever, and want to participate, cooperate, be a part of this thing, because what it does is that it opens up an ease for you to bring new people on. So it's, and what it does though, if we know that it's an easy thing to switch, that helps software providers level up. And that's an important thing, because when we level up and it's like, all right, now we're going to have to play on this plane of a field and be more transparent, or that there's this layer. And every ship rises from this. And when we can, in general, in business, make decisions that help everyone level up or rise, it's good for everyone. And it's really good too for the end customer, because we have talked to dealers that are going through, and the horror stories around DMSs are more than other ones. But they're cantankerous.
Right.
And so let's relieve that.
Right.
And because when you're cantankerous, your team knows you're cantankerous. It's like, it's been a really rough couple of weeks or months or whatever around here, because it's just like we're trying to figure this thing out. And because those things, when we talk about culture and how our customers are treated, is it starts here. And if our dealers are feeling stressed beyond what they should be, then that trickles down, and it can create a more stressful environment for the customer.
Well, and to close this out, kind of what you just talked about, if you look at just the data side of this, so internally and culture and all those things are important. The data piece, what it does is you're at a time where here we are having this conversation mid 2026. Dealers are coming off 2 very rough years of charge-offs. And the way I would say this is, I'm just going to say it as clearly as I know to say it. If a dealer's listening, in 2026 and 2027, we don't have the margin for error that we had in buy here, pay here pre-COVID. Lease here, pay here, same. We don't have the same margin for error. We also don't have the same access to capital. So the way the dealers who I think are going to be the most successful going into 2027, closing out this year, are going to be the dealers who get a real good grip on their data. And so one of the things that I'm still wrestling with, and this partner at LendRisk, I haven't even said the name here, LendRisk Analytics is who we partner with. It's in the show description and our broadcast. But one of the things that they'll be able to help to do here is to get this data translated in such a way that dealers can have better visibility into what's really going on in their operation. And this business was already challenging in terms of, timing of cash flow versus profit and balance sheet versus P&L and all the stuff that in finance companies, it's a challenging enough business. But when your data is not clean, it's not well interpreted, then we're winging it a little bit. And we could wing it 2018, 2019, a little bit more. Now post-COVID,
in this
our
age,
risk per contract is high, and our access to money is limited. So I never am out there to frighten dealers as much as I'm out to just say, we gotta work together to get some of this stuff figured out. And I think it's just, you're going to see that dealers who are able to get the best grip on their data are going to be the ones who have a chance to still be around in the coming years. So this is part of it. Yeah. Shall we wrap up?
Well, I wanted a couple of updates real quick. The early warning system, White Hat Way AI, we are moving. We're progressing. We should be in like a couple of weeks be doing some testing, and then it will be released to our beta, our beta members.
So folks who don't know, Ivan Koratev, who's appeared with us on the podcast in the past, he's a partner with us now on the AI side. He and his development team are working on getting that piece together. So we've been able to successfully test the text part. The voice part is expected to be early August. So we're getting closer on being able to, and we have some dealers that are under LOI, and we're moving toward subscription with them to begin. So
be watching for that to roll out to the general population.
And to clarify what you call the early warning, it's a customer advocate that we've built first, is to go out to communicate with customers who are not past due, who are current, and to
this is an outreach. This is not an incoming. It's not collections. It's not sales. It's an outreach just to start. It's like to help have a layer of communication that so many have lost since the dawn of ACH.
So what my focus has been is establishing the foundation that is white hat customer relations. And that'll obviously serve as we move forward and deploy personas in other roles. That'll serve us well. But what we're really aimed at is getting the customer relations element down, so that if we're going to trust AI to go out and talk to our customers, then we need to make sure that they relate to customers in a way that we want. So that's been the work.
And then the other thing, the buyer payer BHPH Nation TV is continuing to move forward. I've got a few different people that I'll be meeting with. I've got verbal agreements for a lot of educational content that from other people. It's not just going to be the things that Jim and Michelle or whatever have created. This is a collaboration of good quality education. And I'm hoping to have some entertainment in there that is buy here, pay here specific.
Do you
eventually
need me to sing a song or two?
Maybe, or it's like, I've been thinking like horror stories from the front line, or just to have some fun. But that is we're in the beginning of August. We'll be doing our soft launch with our V8 members and people that have already engaged with Buyer Payer Institute. And then we'll be doing our full launch in September. And so be watching for that. It's going to be really amazing.
It's a really slick platform. I really love what you've chosen there.
Thank you. I am so excited about it. And it's been, chat with everything that's happened in our world, in our personal world and personal lives. It's I haven't been this excited about a product for a while. And so it's like, I wake up in the morning, it's like, I get to work on this thing today. So it's been great.
The only other time I see you that excited is when you have a new vegetable in your garden.
Oh my gosh. He's like, I have like 3 cherry tomatoes. It's like, look.
Yeah, we've had some fun with that.
So excited. But and then we also have the horror stories of you forget about a zucchini for 2 days and it's gone from this big to that big. And it's like, I do not know where it came up with that whole thing. So, all right. What else?
I think that's it. We can wrap up there. We get on the road. Looking forward to seeing everybody in Seymour. We'll be in and out of his booth, and so looking forward to seeing everybody.
All right. Well, hey everybody, thank you so much for joining. We appreciate it's Saturday. We're going to get on the road. Safe travels to everybody that is on the way there. And if you see Jim or I there, please come up and introduce yourselves. Please. There's a lot of people that we've seen that or talked to that know us. We haven't had a chance to meet them.
Come snap a selfie. I'll wear a decent shirt and we can take some
nice,
selfies.
Right? Okay, it's about time.
Right.
All right, everybody. Thanks again. Have a great day, and we will see you next week.